So this is the new one, I guess.
Yeah, I opened another one because it was closed.
Okay, I'll open.
Yeah, it looks like that Visual Source Code had an update, so he had to
Still
close
didn't
everything.
update.
It didn't update?
Yeah.
Why?
Chips in the pop up.
Okay.
Which one, Shushruth? There are multiple folders.
Practice 3.
This one, practice 3.
That
Okay.
was mine. Yeah, that was mine.
But does it contain this student.json file?
Oh no.
No, he wanted to create a REST service for JSON, REST service. That's
Okay,
the
okay.
problem. He was asking, how do I create a REST service first, then we can use it.
Okay. I'll try. I'll show you. It is simple. One. So what we'll do is we'll first create a folder because it will have the student.json file. Student REST API example. So I'll open this folder from VS Code. So I selected that folder. Now it will show that folder. Now what we'll do is we'll create a simple JSON file which has key value pairs. Like if you take student.json file. Now this JSON will have one key is student, and the value is array of objects. Not a string. This is a key, and it is keys in double quotes. Now here we'll create a different student object. Here I'll specify one and
First name and last name. Yeah, let's have only 3. Anyway, we'll have to do it right. Yeah. First name.
And first name colon.
You understand? This is an array means having multiple students inside, and all of them are called students. Okay?
Students.
The ID is the person. The first.
The unique identifier for like registration number, right? Like your student registration number. That's the ID.
Similarly, I'll create one more and
also add grade also, so that you don't have to copy them again.
I think the username had capital. Oh wait, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And what is this grade and role also, right? You had a role, I think, right?
Yeah, role. Yes. And user role. What I'll do is I'll first format the document. So this is simple. So what it does is it formats in the right direction. So we can just simply copy and paste this. It is easy to understand. So I'll change this to 2, and here I'll add Ganesh. So I'm going with 2 records. We'll see. Shushruth, please add more, and we'll try that.
Yeah.
Now I'm opening one terminal, new terminal. And here, first we'll see whether JSON server is available in this machine or not. JSON hyphen server. So yeah, it shows us some arguments are missing in this. So what I'll do is now I'll add that.
JSON space hyphen server, right? Or just JSON?
No, JSON hyphen server
Okay.
space
Okay. Uh-huh.
hyphen watch and student dot JSON. Just press tab because we are in same folder. Yeah. Now it is ready to serve.
Got it?
Now if I click this, we'll get the.
The link.
I just clicked on control plus click and it opened me the result. And if I access using index ID, and it shows us specific user student information.
And then you link that into the TypeScript or login.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same URL we can use inside our REST APIs.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on, Srinivas. Yeah. Good. Thanks.
Okay. We let it run. I'll show you whatever I have modified. I don't know where exactly we are. This is sample.
No, I think the first one is no, I think second one. Yeah, you're on the right.
This is sample app. So on the day the delete all was not working properly. So what I did is actually the problem we were facing is we are making this REST API continuously without any wait. So there is some problem if we call multiple APIs, the REST API multiple times, because sometimes we may get a response bit late. So there is a ambiguity like how many records are deleted and how many, because it is we are continuously posting some request. That's why what I did is I try to wait until the first record is completed, then I am going for the next record. So until REST API is done, till that time I am waiting, and once this API is completed, again it will come to second loop and it will try to delete the existing another record. And once this is done, we are getting the all the records. So this is the change. I have added async and await. Remaining function, everything is same. Now we'll try to see.
You remember that day uncle was getting index out of bound exception.
Yeah.
And for that he is using asynchronous. Asynchronous means not everything at once, one at a time.
One time. And then await means just take a break until
Until it response comes back and then call the next line of code.
if it's successful.
Yeah.
Now I'll add one record here.
Error while adding student. What happened there?
404 student 123. Actually, I have modified the API for this, I guess.
What is the API for that?
No, actually, on that day we were testing something. I have modified this API, like student 123, just for to test.
Oh, okay, got it.
404.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I add the student. It is adding here. Now I'll try to delete all. First, I'll take a backup of this file.
No, I think you already have a backup, right, Srinivas? Previous backup.
No, this we have created just now. I'm using same.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're using,
Got
okay. Oh, he's using.
We have in another folder. Yeah, I have taken backup of this. Now I try to delete. We'll go to network tab and delete. So it is trying to make 4 REST APIs because we have 4, and it is deleted. See here, it is trying to make these many REST APIs, but it is waiting basically. It is waiting for the previous response. Once previous response comes, then it is making another REST APIs. So total it is 5 REST APIs are going because we have 5 records and we have deleted that.
Got it. Okay.
Now it is deleted everything. And in actual real-time scenario, we make a API. From DB itself, we get all the student records and we delete one by one. Instead of making each REST API from client side, we make simple API, delete all API to server, and we fetch all the student records from DB and delete from that. But this is JSON server. Actually, it is not supporting that delete all records one at a time. That's why we are making different APIs for each student.
Got it.
So
We're calling it separately each ID.
For each record. Yeah, I think Srinivas, when I get some time, right? I'll get database concepts నేర్పిస్తా, then he will get it easily. Okay.
sure, no. So that we can write simple REST APIs similar to the JSON server which we have created.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any doubt in that reactive form and model driven form? Have you tried that?
No, he didn't try any reactive or forms. Model driven is already whatever we have been doing is model driven, right? So reactive form, just quick recap, right? So that then we can move forward.
Does user
I'll recap.
add a different code?
What is your name?
For user role, you can add like the one that says user.
Oh yeah, I think he tried to add reactive validations for user role. It seems it didn't work. Can you check what did you do?
I tried using the same input method, but it didn't work.
Okay, for password is required. We'll check that. Password control.error required. And
then the same thing he tried to add it for user role. Oh, you didn't add the user role name parameter there. Did you add that name parameter?
form control name. Yeah, form control name is
not form control name parameter. You need to add a name parameter.
No. Name is not required in case of.
The other day you told me that name is important, required. No.
That is for model driven, Mark. If you use NG model, we have to use
in NG model. If you are using the form tag, you needed the name. Yes. Yeah.
Needed the name, and in case of reactive, it is not required.
Okay. So now, what was the problem you had?
It just didn't run. Like it just crashed the whole page. Like the whole page just showed up blank.
Okay. What did you do here?
If you tried using the same input tag,
okay,
it didn't work.
Oh, looks like you used the same input tag.
Like so, when you use the input tag, it just didn't work. And I tried changing.
No, that is a select, right? It's not input tag. It is a select tag.
Yeah, I know. I tried changing it to select, and it just crashed the whole page.
Oh, okay.
Like the whole page just showed up blank.
Oh, it means there was some error.
Yeah.
That's why it's blank. Okay.
Yeah, if we get these kind of blank errors, right, just press F12 and we can see the error message here. Just capture that error message. If you are not able to resolve, we'll check that. Because there may be some problem in HTML, that's why it went to blank page.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Why don't you just add it, Srinivas? It will be quick.
Yeah, I have added just now, and form control name, username. We have given one control for username, user role. So I am going to use this username, user role control in my
your
NG
service class. In your component.
Now here, user role is required. And for this user role, we have given required as a validator. So we'll go and check. I'm clearing the session storage, and even I'll copy the JSON file from here. it deleted and previously it deleted and it has only this object with empty records. Now I am adding the records here. Now when I refresh the page, it will go to login page, login form. Yeah. Now we'll see if there is any problem out here. See, it is working.
I don't know what you did. Did you do the same or is there something?
If you take capture that error, there may be some problem with.
Yeah, next time whenever can we capture the error?
Okay.
Take a screenshot and send it to uncle or take a photo and send it in the group. That's it.
Send it in the group.
Yeah.
Because it may be because of
Select the tags. Some of the tags may not been closed or whatever, Srinivas.
okay, I think
If you just try to not close the select tag.
yeah, I have added in between these options. See,
That's what I did.
That's what you did.
Yeah, I had done that.
Oh, okay.
but there is no error here. But
Yeah, see, that one.
No, it didn't work, but it didn't give you a page error at all, right? Yeah.
yeah, page is loading, but error
I think if
message.
you don't close the select properly, that's what might give you an error, Srinivas.
If you don't close this, we'll get blank page.
Yeah.
We'll get blank page, and here it will clearly shows that.
Yeah. You see the error? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think you did. I know. Somewhere you didn't close some of the tags.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay. Alright. Make sure that every open tag should have a closed tag in HTML.
We can simply test by using just put mouse, just select this select tag. It would automatically show where exactly it is closed.
Got it? Matching closed tag will show up.
Yeah. If we click here, I just clicked on this div and it is showing where is the starting tag of this div, so that we can easily identify which tag is missing actually. And even if I miss this tag, it will show in UI saying there is a div tag is missing. In HTML, it is showing somewhat different, but normally it shows close tag for div does not found kind of error message. Here it is. Here it is showing in our console.
The compile itself it failed.
Yeah, form tag is missing because it could not able to find out the ending tag for this form because the tag missing in this, and it is showing form tag is not closed. Yes, it will be successful.
Got it? No? So those are basically, if the page is not loading, it's probably with the tags.
That's not
The tag.
Yeah. Got it?
Uh-huh.
And any error validation should be outside the div tag or select tag, not within the same tag. Okay?
It has,
If you use
has to be outside. I did it inside. Right, okay.
yeah, if it is in, if you are using input, the next once the input is done, then we'll add the error message beneath of that, so that we can add anywhere, because this is like a hide and show kind of error message, but it is better to show beneath of this text field. That will look good. I can add above also, anywhere we can add, but placeholder should be below. Like it will simply display that error message. I have the password modified and it is showing. It is like a hide and show kind of thing.
Doing it above it.
Yeah, it is printing above because I have added this just it will check for this condition. If the condition matches, it will show this error message there.
So why was it added above, not below, Srinivas?
In UI, right, all the error message in HTML, it will show beneath of that text fields mark. It is a standard. Either we can show some here also, like username is required and password is required, but above it is not recommended actually.
Got it.
Yeah. Even in any other pages also, we can see the error message beneath of the text field.
Got it. Yep.
And so we can see here actually the default value is not set. So we can set we have some values here, but if you see this text, the select field is empty. We can set some of the default values like for username or for password and for user role. We have created one form group inside our login component, right? The first value is empty. So this is actually we can set the default value in first time. So if I specify here like admin, and so it will take this admin as the value for this username and it will set that value here. In actually in some of the websites they provide default values to some text fields, or it will recommend some of the usernames like passwords. So they use this kind of behavior, like by default if someone wants to fill the values in the form, they add here. Like I can add here username 1. It automatically, so the first parameter is the default value for this username field. Now we can see username value is printed here.
So inside the text box it says enter the username, but as soon as you hover it, it disappears. How does it happen? That's a CSS?
There is a concept called placeholder mark. I'll add the placeholder here. So this is the input, and here I'll add placeholder equal to enter username. And
okay, so okay, like when you click on it and hover.
Yep. Username is there. Yeah. Then it will say enter username there inside the box.
Black or gray?
In the gray.
Okay, yeah, good.
And now when you click it, it will go away. Click it.
Then I click start typing, it will go.
Okay, that's cool.
If I remove this again, it will. This is kind of a helper kind of thing. Either we can put tooltip or the placeholder text. To show some tooltips, we can use here same thing. We can add it in title. Title equal to enter username. So now when you put mouse over, on this,
is it a help text? Is a help text?
Yeah, like this it will come. You can see here.
That's cool. I see more cool.
Yeah. And how do you add a help text to the label, Srinivas?
Help text means what?
Help text means there, like for example, there is a username. Besides that, there will be something like a bulb or something, which when you click on it, you can see a message saying that okay, your username should be this characters, this blah 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 blah, whatever.
We can add some image here. On click of that, we want to display some on mouse or something.
So help text is a standard form, Srinivas. I don't think you have to do
that.
that.
Like when it says username has to be minimum length.
Yeah, and so help text is a standard functionality. I'm sure that they may have AngularJS may have some parameter to enter the help text. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Okay. The reason I'm guessing is because this is a standard functionality in most of the web-based applications now. Help text in Bootstrap, maybe AngularJS, right? I don't know if it is a Bootstrap or AngularJS. Yeah.
We are using CSS like this.
Yeah, we'll never. Yeah, like that, but it won't show up by default. It will show up like a small bulb icon or something when When you hover on it, it should show you the help text.
Okay.
I don't think, I mean, check it in AngularJS itself.
What website do you use?
Every website, Salesforce, everything uses that help text.
You did it in your program.
Okay, Mark. I'll check that. Like one helper kind of thing, and that will show us the without writing any code.
I mean, it's not must. You don't have to research now. What I'm trying to tell you is like there will be some help text. For example, look at this question mark, right? When you hover on it, you get this.
Oh, you're talking about what's this?
That's called help text.
Oh.
Okay. Can I show you this one, Srinivas, once?
Oh. Wait.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Let me go back to
You know the question mark icon, Uncle, that always looks.
Yeah, I understand, but are we showing that on click of that helper icon or just mouse over?
No, just mouse
over.
Okay.
Okay.
So, can you see my screen now?
Or it is reconnecting. Yeah, it is loading.
Okay, so look at
Can you
this. I
see
mean,
this?
these are all the fields, right? Labels. Now you see this language preference is a label, right?
Mar is still loading now.
Yeah, okay. Let me know when you can see my screen.
And now it is showing actual size. Yeah, now we are able to see.
So now if you see the language preference is a label, okay? Can you see what I'm highlighting?
Your mouse is on this mailing address actually.
No. I'm I think slow load.
Okay. Yeah. You selected one text, preferred language.
Language preference, right? Okay.
Yeah.
On the side of the text, you see there is one button like a question mark.
Right.
So that only when you hover on it, it highlights and it displays the message. This is called help text. Always question mark unto the help text key. When you hover on it, then you can see the language preference for each communication.
I got it. I'll show you. Actually, in our application, we have done that.
Yeah. Okay. So you can share your screen now.
Yeah. It is. Is it in share? I think it is. Yeah.
You can automatically share your screen. It will disconnect mine and will show yours.
Okay.
Yeah, I disconnected. No. Yeah, that's pretty standard in most of the applications now.
Yes. Yeah.
That was my first time seeing it.
Yeah.
One second. I'll show you that.
Then probably doesn't use it. Does Gmail use it?
Yeah, many of them use it.
Seriously, I've never seen it. Then I probably just didn't care about it.
Yeah. Lines code.
It is actually building. It will take a minute.
Is this your office work?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the scheduling tool? Are you still working on it?
Yes, ma'am. This is actually scheduling for UI. Like we are developing UI for scheduling.
Okay.
So here, if I put mouse over here, it is.
Did you see that?
fine.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yep.
And with keyboard also, if I press tab, it will come here and it will highlight.
Yep, exactly. And did you use it in Bootstrap or was it standard AngularJS function?
Actually, we are using PrimeNG. I have shown you that third library which we are using. PrimeNG. It has all the controls, everything.
Oh, instead of Bootstrap, we are using PrimeNG.
Yeah, PrimeNG. PrimeNG is built on top of. It is similar to Bootstrap, but it includes Angular plus Bootstrap. And so, if you take any.
Yeah, look at that, all the web and mobile, everything.
You take button, so they have provided all the functionalities. Like these buttons we can use. Even for the Sliders.
Got it. Yep. So a lot
Right.
of Lightning UI components,
Yeah,
controls.
like, and they provide everything. Basically, we just need to import.
Yeah.
As we have imported Bootstrap, similarly we have to import
Prime.
this Prime library so
Mhm.
that it will work. So if I run npm install primeng and npm install prime icons,
Mhm.
it will ready to use.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Can you just link it in Angular.json?
Yeah, these we have to add inside
Yeah.
Angular.json.
So you need to add it again in the JSON file, right?
Angular.json, right? This will
Later.
this will work.
Angular JS.
Node mod. Okay, yeah, I get it. So it's
And we have,
basically exactly identical to installing Bootstrap.
yeah, it is it.
Yeah.
And we have overridden their some of the CSS classes to look feel should be same as the standard company standard. That's why
Uh-huh.
we modified some of the CSS classes. The CSS. Okay. Um, so the next one is from Bootstrap. I have created simple page. I'll show you first the simple page. So it is kind of a header and footer I have added, and in between header and footer I am just placing my page content. I'll show you the UI ones. And I just added one dummy user. So if you see here,
Uh-huh.
so this is a header,
Yeah.
and I have added footer. So in most of the applications, if you go for any websites, most of the websites will look like this. So first is header, and it will have some company logo and the links to that different pages, and below some company copyright information as well as contact and some other information like company related information, and the right side is the sign out button or edit user button we'll have.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is similar thing we'll implement in our sample app. Uh, so what I have done is I have searched for Bootstrap navigation bar. So this is a navigation bar. This is a navigation bar,
Mm-hmm.
and it have these options. So what I did is I went here.
Mm-hmm.
If we copy these lines from nav to navigation bar till here and paste it in our code, the UI will look like this
Yeah.
with these links as well as the search field. So what I'll do is I'll copy this piece of code and paste it into our. This is a login page, and once login is done, we are redirecting to home page.
Yeah.
In page HTML, as we have created these first name and welcome to login page. Above that, so
Uh-huh.
here I'll add this code. I have added this navigation bar code here. I didn't modify anything. We'll see how the UI will look like.
Mm-hmm.
First, I'll log into that. Now, if you see here, it shows us the navigation bar here. I'll change the color to little dark so that we can easily see that.
Uh-huh.
What I'll do is see if we see here, this is different dark color themes. So for that, here we can see that for the navigation bars, the CSS this one. So what I'll do is I'll copy this dark primary. That means the second one I'm copying because this is in. So I'll paste it into our HTML page. So here I'll paste it here at the first line.
Uh-huh.
And the text is missing here. I'll copy only this piece. We have changed the background color of this. Ignore the below code, only we have added till here, like the top header, and here navbar and home and different links. And this one, if you click here, it is actually not showing the drop down. But in my case, we are getting that drop down. Like when I click here, it is showing some actions beneath of this and click of this. So this is a JavaScript functionality.
Uh-huh.
We haven't used JavaScript libraries into our application. So we'll add that so that we can use these JavaScript library functionality in Bootstrap.
Mm-hmm.
So now just concentrate on this this header and how we can add the header and the buttons here.
Yeah.
And similarly footer is a fixed place we'll add at the bottom, and I have created CSS for that. The CSS is the CSS position is fixed, and we have given background color for this one so that it will print. It will show us the now I'll add at the bottom of the page the footer tag. CSS first, I'll add the CSS into our home component.css. I'll add it. Similarly, the div which I have created here, the same div like a class. In my HTML, I am adding, and I'll remove this piece of code here. I'll add that. So now, if we come here and see, the footer is here, and the header.
You see that?
Yeah.
So for every page, there is a contact us and all these footers, right? So that's what Uncle is saying. So the top, whatever we call, is header. So Uncle already had the header?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. Okay. And the bottom.
Actually, we have Bootstrap is already providing some of the
Navigation.
navigations. So we copied the same code. Like if I want to display like this, we can directly copy this navbar code, paste it into our file. It will because as we have already included Bootstrap CSS, it will show like this.
Got it. Okay.
And then Uncle overrided the style property.
To the color properties.
Yeah, here it is little light. So what we did is we have copied this dark one.
Okay.
The dark ones and nav dark and nav primary. So it is coming in blue color.
Got it.
And even if you see here, they have if I resize or resize this page. By default, they have provided, they have removed all the options here, like whatever options we have previously, and they have added this button here, 3 icons button. as we didn't include the jQuery and the JavaScript, that's why it is not showing up. I'll check it in. I'll show you in my example which I did. So here it is showing here. So in my case it is showing. I will add that missing libraries into our page.
Okay.
Here it is showing. So they have like medium devices, small devices, and larger devices in their CSS class, CSS file. They have written that code. If the media size is less than 300 and show in the table format like this. In full screen pages, just show in a navigation bar. So they have.
Yeah, it automatically whether it is in this bar or it will display in a. Can you maximize it, Srinivas, now? No, it comes like a drop down, right? When you click on it, when you maximize it, everything becomes on the tag.
It's universal.
So that's why when it goes back into your mobile, it will show up like a drop downs. Now when you are on the web page, it shows on this. So that's automatically it adapts to it. That's why Bootstrap and these things they use for this purpose. Otherwise, all these things you have to separately write a code. Yeah.
And it is a bit difficult to maintain because they are releasing in every month or so, and they are adding multiple CSS. For individually, if you maintain, it will be very difficult. So now, if you see in Angular,
how do they make income if you guys are using this Bootstrap and they have developers to do? Is it a
actually they have a basic CSS as a free, and if you want to support or if you want to add multiple functionalities, and they charge for that.
Okay, but for ourselves, whatever that we need, basic is sufficient.
Yeah, basic is sufficient. Even the third-party library we are using, PrimeNG, they have a support. Like if you raise any query, it will take months to resolve. But if you take support, they resolve in a day.
Got it. Okay.
They are making money with that.
Got it. Okay, now I know. Okay, good.
Now, to run this dynamic behavior, right, we need to import the JavaScript library, that is jQuery. So what I am going to do now is I am going to install jQuery library, npm I jQuery.
So what is the difference between jQuery and Bootstrap?
Bootstrap is.
By the way, I know the answer, but I want him to know. That's why.
Yeah, Bootstrap is like a UI look and feel. We can change using Bootstrap, but the functionality like on click of some action, some on mouse over, I want to display something. So we have to use jQuery to handle that.
That's called dynamic behaviors. So whereas Bootstrap is a static UI functionality, and on the static UI functionality, any dynamic behavior on a click, on a drop, on a this and all, so you need jQuery. Correct?
jQuery. Now our jQuery library is here. Now I'm going to add one jQuery.
On the hover of a button, what is happening? On a click of a donut button, what happens? Donut bar. Okay, all that.
How much behind the
scenes? See, you have the modules, the jQuery is installed, right? So you need to add it in where? Which
in scripts tag we have
added in styles.
In Angular JSON, Angular.js first.
Yeah. Okay. Actually here we have two. One is for test and another is for actual development. So if you go above, here we have build. So we need to add it in build tag. Like we can see here the same styles we have added here. If I search with this, it will show in different place also. So here, so this is a test. We can ignore this. This is used for comma and protractor. For time being, I am adding all our CSS and JavaScript inside our build at the top of the.
Yeah. When you're deploying it into the real time for use, that's called production. Okay, so
Yeah,
when you
production.
build for production the package, it reads from this build tag and then
from
adds
test.
all those libraries extensions into your project. Got it?
Okay.
Test.
Yeah. If you put it in the test, it won't come into your build. So in your
Right.
if it is not coming in your build, then your project will not work because it is missing those libraries. Got it?
And the CSS everything will be gone, like it will not display properly.
So Bootstrap is on the Bootstrap is CSS and jQuery is the JavaScript, right?
Yeah. Even Bootstrap also they have released some JavaScript functionalities, but on top of jQuery, they have built their JavaScript.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it.
Now we need to add that Bootstrap J, JS also. I'll add that one also. So now I'm adding
So by
first
default, Bootstrap JS needs jQuery JS to be installed.
Yes, and even the import, like first we are importing jQuery and the Bootstrap. This format is also important. Like we cannot import first Bootstrap JS files, then jQuery.
Okay.
First we have to import the JavaScript library, the jQuery. Then we'll import Bootstrap JS file.
Yes.
Then only things will work fine. Otherwise, it will not work. So here in distribution folder we have, so in every application, right, whenever we ship anything, whatever files which are there in distribution folder, we have to use those files only. We cannot use the outside of distribution folder. So if we want to use, we have to, there is a recommendation that we have to use distribution folder. Inside that we'll have minified files as well as the actual files. Actual file is for debugging purpose. When you ship actual production build, we have to use minified version of CSS. Even in case of JS also, they provide Bootstrap JS, Bootstrap min.js. Even the size is also reduced. If you check bootstrap.css, it is 144 KB, and the minified version of Bootstrap is 62. It is almost half it reduced the size. So for testing purpose, we'll use this Bootstrap JS file. If there is any debug required or anything, we can easily debug with this JS. And even this minified file is a single line file. We cannot able to debug or anything. It is a single line file. It is very difficult to understand.
But usually most of the people include this one in the production build, right, Srinivas?
Yeah. Once the development everything is done, when we try to build the actual application, we use minified version. So for time being, I am adding bootstrap.js file here.
No, yeah, obviously when the size is faster, it loads faster, right?
It loads fast. Yes.
Sorry, when the size is small, it loads faster, not when the size is faster. Okay, so now Uncle added.
I have added Bootstrap distribution folder and JS, bootstrap.js I have added, and this is for this jQuery is dependent, so that's why I have added first. After that bootstrap.css. Now we'll run. Now dependencies are done. So
Oh,
first
you
it will load.
installed Bootstrap already, Srinivas? I didn't see it, sorry. I was on the phone something.
This one, no more. We have already installed Bootstrap previously.
Oh, so the bootstrap.js came with the Bootstrap install already. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it has two files, two folders. One is CSS, one is JS file. Previously, we used the CSS bootstrap.css. Now we have used JS file. Okay, now I'll refresh the page. And if you see here, previously it was not coming. Like on click of this drop down, it was not showing anything. Now we can see the actions here. Now when I resize the page, it changed to donut icon, and when I click here, it was showing like these actions. And if I click,
Srinivas, your screen disappeared. Can you reshare it?
Oh, yeah, one second. Yeah, are you able to see now?
It's loading. Yep, we can see it.
Yeah. So I ran the application, and when we do click up this drop down, it was showing like this. So this is actually the JavaScript functionality as well as the Bootstrap functionality. Previously, without using that, if I click here, it is actually redirecting to login page because the JavaScript is not there, and it is adding hash here, and it is redirecting to login page. In our router config we mentioned, apart from these URLs, if I mentioned anything, it will redirect to login.
You remember in the routing?
Yeah,
In the routing, you said like star dot star, it should go to login page. So it means any link that you did not specify, it will go to login page.
And if you see here, when I mouse over here, you can observe here, like bottom left, it will show hash. Like here it is showing localhost 4200/hash. So that means on click of this, if there is no JavaScript functionality is included, it is adding hash in the URL and it is redirecting to login page. Now with this JavaScript we are able to, and even for the donut menu also, previously it was not loading. Now we can see here it is loading. It is actually JavaScript it is loading from. Even I can click here and
You see the burger menu. Now it's like that's how it works when you go into the mobile, right? So that it's mobile intuitive. Got it?
yeah. So are you able to understand? Have you understand or any questions? Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll add simple logout button instead of we have added. Okay, this is my
Uncle, what is it doing? Session dot clear is being session storage dot clear.
So
So instead of that,
clears the username.
yeah, instead of you just use a logout button, that's what it clears all your session information. Okay, so which means your passwords, your everything that you entered, everything.
But I thought you have to put that under. I thought in Logo you have to type under session storage.clear.
Yeah, but when you click on here the logout button,
I know.
then you call a function. That function you write a
Session
storage dot clear.
and navigate home. Oh,
Exactly, and
you don't
automatically
have
it goes
to-
to
yeah,
navigate
you don't
because
have to.
yeah.
what we'll do is we'll
First add a logout button. Do you have the logout button here already in the page?
No.
yeah we'll have this search button, right? I'll remove this search button and I'll make this as logout button here. Actually, if you specify button type as submit, it will submit this form. Actually, they in some of the websites they have like a search functionality. Like I can type something here and click on search. It will search whatever we implement, and it will show the results here. So, but currently we are removing that functionality. Like later we can add, and I'll change this button to simple button, and I'll add this.
Yeah, maybe okay. Yeah, do it. No, I was thinking just maybe comment this one to keep it as it is, so that you have to just enable it, and then create copy and paste and create a new one for logout. That's what I would. Or maybe create that logout button under the form, Srinivas, so that it is an individual button. I don't know.
Okay, I'll.
Yeah, maybe we want it as the it should automatically come in. Yeah.
I'll remove this and I'll add one. We'll see how it is coming here. Okay. I'll add next to this.
Yeah, just add it after that. Yeah.
Whether it is. Yeah, it is coming.
Yeah. Okay.
I I'll change this to link.
You should make it danger.
Danger.
Not success.
So when you click on logout,
No, danger just means red.
line link hyphen.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
one second. Actually, I have added as a link, but it is already in blue color. That's why it is hidden here.
Okay.
I'll add.
Link. Not like a button, like a link, right? Yeah.
But I thought you use button for.
Now we'll see this.
I thought you do use it as a long count.
Got it? That's loud.
Also.
Okay. And now when you make the screen size is small, is it automatically coming aligned or it's not? Can you check that, Srinivas?
That was bootstrap.
Got it?
Yep.
Take it out. Got it?
Whatever we add inside nav tag, navigation tag, it
Got it.
automatically.
Got it. Okay. Got it?
Rearrange.
So now what you do? Now you need to click off this one. You need to call a logout function,
You need to call that function.
and you need to write this function where
TS login.ts.
login
No, this is home
component.ts.
component.
Yeah, home component.ts lo ఇది రాసి then you can still use the
storage dot
no, you can directly do a logout here, or you can call the
session storage
login service class, then do it. Okay.
clear. What?
Login.
Uncle is trying to call logout function in login because every business logic we need to write there. That's what Uncle is trying to do. So just call logout function of the login service method.
Oh, instead of typing it here, okay.
Yeah, then we'll write the logic in
Type
quick fix there.
login service.
Declare that method in the login service. Now when you go there, click on, you'll go there, and then here you can just write session storage.clear and then route it back to login.
And here we don't have this Angular route, so I'll add here in constructor.
Yeah, it doesn't have, and you need to, whatever that you need to use should be added in the constructor, right? First, so is a private variable that is called router, colon router. Router is the class. So that router, small router, is the variable for router class. Got it?
Yes. Now I'll use this router variable here.
This dot router dot. Jana, this dot.
No, it's just dot router dot navigate, and then you put colon and then square bracket inside that, and then quotes inside that, and then you call the login.
Yep. Slash login.
No, just login.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Path always slash login.
Any slash?
Yeah.
I've been just calling it the name.
No, you need to give
I like
path.
this slash.
Path always comes with slash.
Yeah, this is a path actually. It should come with slash.
I like this slash. It works.
And that slash login is what you mentioned in your router dot
Navigate.
config file, router config file,
And why
right?
does mine work with? Wait, what? Okay.
Here we
No,
have
why it
mentioned-
works is because login always works with anything, right? So star dot star. Even if you put go to
No, not
login also
that,
it works.
Not that. Home.
Home slash home without
No,
slash
yeah,
home. it
without
works?
slash it works for me.
Oh, okay. Srinivas, does it work like that without slash home?
I think, Mark, it will automatically take care of that.
Okay, it automatically assigns the path. Okay, your uncle is trying that. Okay, let's try that.
Yeah, redirecting to login page.
Okay.
Yeah, did it. Yeah, I know. I did
Then,
it too. Then I remember.
Even if I add slash login, right, it adds another slash and default URL does not found, and it will automatically redirect to login page because here
I think here we didn't mention the path as slash login, Srinivas. That's why.
no, here it is not required, Mark. This is the
Not
path.
required. What I'm saying is whatever you mention is what you need to call there. That's it. If you put a slash login here, then you have to call slash login there.
Slash login, I don't think it will.
So just try. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, there is some problem.
Yeah, let's just go to the login page first. We'll see. Because in the code law, just login anundi.
No, Mar, it is actually trying to get that path. Cannot starts with slash. It is showing that message.
Okay.
See that.
Here, I think we can directly call this.
Got it.
in-
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, ಅದಾಯ್ತು.
Now adding this.
Why the password? Why did you not put the characteristics of password as password? Why is it visible?
What do you mean?
Password should be log star star.
Star star.
It can't show you the password while you're typing.
Oh, you mean like okay, it's supposed to
Yeah.
be like invisible. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, why does it?
Because we need to make that property for that control as password. Property type something. You already put the type as password, right, Srinivas?
Input type password.
It doesn't show it on mine.
Because you
One
already
second.
put II. You remember Srinivas? I think the type password you need to remove. I think something is wrong.
No, it is not taking that value. There is some problem with this input type.
No, see PD, whatever his project, it was showing a star.
Yeah, it showed up as like little dot, not star.
Yeah, that's a star or dot, whatever.
It's
Yeah.
not a star, Dad.
It's a dot, baby, whatever.
Yeah, it's not a star. Can't
It
be.
automatically adds that mark. I'll update here. It is taking as a text here.
Yeah, the subject here type as password. Yeah. Then why is it not taking that? See, when the uncle updated it means.
No.
Typing password.
Wait, why did we go back to the MG model?
It is taking as
There.
text here.
Are you in the wrong? Wait, go back.
You're in the model class.
Yeah,
why,
you're not-
Why are you
yeah.
in the model class?
You're
Srinivas?
supposed to be in the other one.
Sorry, when I press Alt tab, it came automatically.
Yeah, you're changing it in the other class. I think you didn't mention as type password. That's why
It's,
in that
this
class.
one was supposed to be in it. Right.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have modified. I'll modify this.
Type password. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That would be better.
Good.
And delete all. This is working fine, Mark. Sushrut, please try like
Navigation bar.
yeah, navigation bar and I'll show you how to add the links just change the colors or some different links in that, add more links and see how the drop down and the UI, how it is behaving. Like
You understand what I'm saying? On the top navigation, there are drop downs, right?
Yeah, no, he's talking about adding links.
Yeah.
and even the we can add multiple drop downs in that, and we can align right to left for users, right? We'll have user 1 second. And so here we can add username instead of welcome ready to username. Here we'll add the username here, welcome, and on top of that username will show these actions like edit user or like yeah, edit user. So can you add here the similar kind of drop down at right side with user details? On click of that, we'll add edit user and register user that, like that. Just try that and try to add more links here. But these link on click of these links, I'll show you how to add our routings, and we'll create a new project for that and add exactly header and footers in the next class. And we'll create simple web page with that by adding some content here or with tables and some static data.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Math.
Yep, Srinivas.
Tomorrow we'll have class